Dr. Hartley Bannock is a champion of outdoor education for children of all ages. Passionate about outdoor education and community service, his research passion is the environment, health, and youth education. Welcome, Dr. Hartley Bannock. Let's get to know your spicy mind.
Welcome to Spicy Minds.
Nice.
I am your host, Sharon McDermott, and today I'm going to be asking you some questions about yourself and your field of study, while throwing a few mind-bending challenges in there, and of course, delicious Bannock and hot sauces from all over beautiful British Columbia.
Lovely.
Before we get started, how would you like me to address you? For example, I am Sharon, and I use she, her pronouns.
I'm Hart, and you can use he pronouns.
Okay, thank you. I'll start off easy today with some questions about you.
Okay.
So, where did you grow up, and can you tell me about your hometown?
Sure. I grew up in a small town called Toronto. It's slightly east of here. And my hometown was pretty small when I grew up there compared to now, but now it is huge, and I go back and I get overwhelmed after being out here in the West for so long. But that's where my family's from, and that's where I'm from, so it feels familiar. But the connection is really friends and family when I go back to Toronto.
It's now time to try our first hot sauce. The first one is quite thick. It is a peanut-based sauce. Doesn't have too much spice, but it's a beautiful flavor.
Yeah, very nice.
So now that you have sticky peanut butter mouth, can you please tell me about the 3 most influential people in your life and how they have impacted you?
Well, my folks for sure are major influences. They've supported me my whole life and continue to support me, and I have very strong family ties to my family, and they continue to get stronger, and I really admire these folks for who they are as people, and I really appreciate their love and support. I think the next group are the children. My kids have as well been super inspirational in my life, and as I grow up and as they grow up and I get to see and experience life through them, it brings a lot of goodness to me, and it keeps me young and vibrant perhaps. And then academically, I studied with one scholar through my master's and my PhD, and that was Dr. Hae-Soon Bai. And Hae-Soon is definitely a mentor and continues to be a mentor for me, and we continue to have good exchanges and collegiality, but they've definitely helped put me on my path and helped me when I was confused along the way. Okay,
great answers, thank you. Are you ready for another sauce?
Of course, that's why we came.
Okay. So our next sauce is called the unicorn. This one is a vegan sauce. It is based on root vegetables. Yeah, it's a very thick sauce as well, but in a different way than the peanut butter one.
Okay, let's dip in. Tangier and a little bit more of a kick perhaps. But yum.
Okay, I'm gonna get a little existential now. So, if you could go back and give your 16-year-old self one piece of advice, what would it be?
This piece of advice I'm still working on, and I know it, and I needed it back then, and I still need it, and it's patience. Patience, Hart. That's the message.
Patience. That's a good one I think a lot of us could have. Oh my goodness. Okay, are you ready for another hot sauce?
Yes.
Okay, so this next hot sauce is called Liquid Gold, and it actually has gold leaf in it.
Not as hot as the last one, I don't find.
I like to think of it as a hollandaise with a little dash of cayenne.
Spirited. Lovely. Thank you.
Again, being a little bit existential, if you were a color right now, what color would you be and why?
Well, I think it's clear I chose my color as I came in today. I would be orange in support of all children and the importance that educators have in the lives of children. And to me, it's not only a representation or symbolic, but it also is a real reminder to us of what we do in our job as educators.
Okay, thank you. Are you ready for another sauce? This next one is the first of our, what I call the green sauces.
Okay.
And this one comes from Tofino.
Oh, nice. I love Tofino. Nice. I think that one's my favorite so far, actually.
It's a cilantro lime.
Yeah, I like that one. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay, it's time for the rapid fire questions.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you 7 questions.
Okay.
I would like you to answer them as quickly as you can with only one word.
You're going to ask one at a time,
Yeah.
not 7 in a row.
No.
Okay.
What is your pet peeve?
What What is my pet peeve? People not helping out.
Okay. What is your favorite word?
Right now, petrichor.
Ooh. What is your least favorite word?
Agree to disagree.
Okay. It's more than one word, but I'll let it go.
I put it all together.
Name a 4-letter word that starts with the letter B.
A 4-letter word that starts with the letter B. Brow.
If you had to change your first name, what would you change it to?
My middle name, Mark.
Okay. And what is your favorite pet?
My favorite pet, I guess it would be the dogs. We have dogs.
And the most important of all the questions, have you ever worn socks with sandals?
Yes, but not with the toe piece.
Oh, okay. Had to clarify that.
Well, yes, it seems.
Okay, thank you so much. That
Thank
ends our
you.
rapid fire questions.
I was nerve-wracking.
Okay, now on to our next sauce. This is the one from Salt Spring.
Okay.
This one is a habanero curry flavor with a little bit of orange zing in it.
This one's the hottest.
So far, yeah.
So far, this was the hottest, and it's still heating up.
This is the one that really catches me at the back of my throat.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah. What is your favorite thing about northern British Columbia?
The scapes, really, the landscapes, the skyscapes. I thought I was living in Vancouver for about 20 years before I came here, and I thought I was going to miss the mountains. I love them dearly, and since I've been here, the skies are just incredible. The sunsets, the way the clouds and light all come together. So I've been falling in love with the scapes up here.
Okay, are you ready for some more sauce?
I don't know, but let's do it.
Okay, so we're going on to the second of what I call the green sauces, although it probably looks yellow to you because it needs to be shaken up.
Okay.
But it's the next one over there.
I like the tang at the beginning.
Yeah, it's a little bit pickly.
Yeah.
And then you get a little bit of that.
It's not very spicy though,
No.
but it's a nice balance.
Yeah.
Nice, I like that. Yeah,
That one-
vinegary it tastes a
Yeah,
little bit.
that one is made right here in Prince George.
Lovely.
Okay, now this is where I expect you're going to want to talk a lot
Okay.
because I would like you to tell me about your field of study.
Sure, okay. Well, I'm at the School of Education at UNBC, and I mostly work in teacher education, so helping to prepare teachers to go into the classrooms, and working with teachers who come back to do masters or gain professional development in different ways. That's the general groups that I work with. And my area of focus at UBC was in science education and physical health education, but mostly I've been an outdoor educator. But in BC, we don't really have a home outdoor educator, so we kind of move around between different subject disciplines. So I was in the science subject discipline and the physical health education subject discipline. But outdoor education is what I've been focusing on, and really I call it outdoor learning because outdoor education is often these big trips that we take and we go far away, and they can be expensive and maybe a little bit risky and whatnot. But my focus has really been on outdoor learning. How do we get outside of the classroom onto the campus or the surrounding neighborhood just to increase the amount of time we spend outdoors for health and wellness? I really think about a lot. I think about how we build connections with the more than human world and different teachers besides just the teacher in the classroom. And then learning experiences that stick with us, like this type of experience won't soon be forgotten. So how outdoors brings those types of experiences. Oh, an eagle just passed by, or I saw a rainbow. So those are the types of things I focus on generally in education. Now I've broadened out a little bit from just outdoor learning, and I'm looking at the concept of where learning happens. So it might be in a classroom, it might be online, it might be outdoors, but really there hasn't been a lot of work that analyzes the where of teaching and learning and starts to consider how teachers were prepared for this, or why teachers might consider this in planning curricular and pedagogical aims, how they could include as well place-based or where aim.
Okay, are you ready for another sauce?
Yeah, oh yes.
Okay, so this next one is a little bit spicy.
Okay, thanks for the...
And this one is also available here in Prince George. It's probably the most traditional.
Yeah, it's
Hot
what you
sauce?
would get on your wings or something,
Yeah.
maybe. This is... No, but very good. Nice tang to it.
In today's world, why do you feel your field of study is important?
Well, education is always important, and I think that Senator or former Senator Murray Sinclair said it very well. Education kind of got us into a mess, and education is the way that we're going to get out of it. So there's always a relevance to education. It's relevant to the adults, how the younger people come into the world, and then it's relevant to the younger people who are trying to make sense of the world. So I really feel that the field is never going to lose its relevance. Particularly, though, my focus on outdoor learning and where learning happens, I feel this is really relevant. It's curious that the school system is very similar when I talk to my parents about what they experienced and when I talk to my children about what they experienced. So over a few generations now, we still have similar practices and we still hear similar types of complaints from the learners. This doesn't make sense to me. What's the meaning? Why are we doing this? And so by taking people outdoors and connecting them to land and place, perhaps we give opportunities to change that narrative a little bit and to build some cohesion, a social cohesion and a more than social cohesion that's so important in this time. So that's my feeling about my field.
Great, thank you so much. Okay, we're moving on to the haunted peach. The haunted peach tends to be a very sweet sauce. The heat comes from fermented ghost pepper.
Okay, I think I've tried this one before because this one's sold in the market, is it?
Yes, it is.
I don't know if we're allowed to say that.
Yes, we are. This one is also made here in Prince George. What is one lesson that your field of study has taught you that you think everyone should learn at some point in their lifetime?
My field of study is really premised on a type of knowledge that's practical, a practical wisdom, let's say. And this lesson is something that schools don't necessarily feel is the most important lesson. Schools are interested in theoretical knowledge and thinking and abstraction. They're interested in technical knowledge. How do you bake something or make a sauce so a productive ends and means? But spending time outdoors and on the land really helps us develop a practical wisdom, an understanding of the situation, a reading of the world. Sometimes it's called the wherewithal. It gives us wherewithal, so we know what types of decisions to make when the moment strikes us. And that's something that comes, I feel, profoundly from being outdoors and learning outdoors, and definitely a lesson that more of us could bring into our lives.
Okay, great, thank you. You ready for another one?
Yeah.
Okay, so this one is a little bit hot depending on how it hits you.
Okay.
It is a barbecue-based sauce,
Nice.
so it also has a lot of sweetness in it.
Okay. Yeah, that one didn't hit me very hot. Maybe it got you a little bit.
No, it just depends where it hits you on the tongue. Yeah, no, I think it's lovely.
I didn't do any strategic studying before I came.
No,
on
that's
where
okay.
to touch the tongue.
What do you consider your greatest professional achievement?
Helping build communities in different ways, and I continue in that vein. So I've had some really interesting experience as a younger person working with very diverse communities and how communities come together using consensus making decisions, really focusing on the feeling of community versus the productive end. So I've had a few projects over my life that have been really community based. One of the longest standing ones now is the Wild About Vancouver Outdoor Education Festival that I began in Vancouver in 2015 and brings the entire community of the Lower Mainland, or invites the community of the Lower Mainland to come and celebrate being outdoors and time spent outdoors. And now we've just taken that organization, and now it's not just Wild About Vancouver, it's just Wild About, and it's starting to spread out through the province of BC and connecting different educators. And one of the most powerful feedbacks that we would get from the Wild About Vancouver meetings were educators would come who didn't really know each other, and they would come to these meetings and they would get a chance to meet their colleagues and hear their stories and build alliances and networks and feel sustained and nourished. So those are things that I am proud of when I think to the types of work I've done.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. You ready for your last one?
Yeah.
So this is by far the hottest that you'll have tonight. That's
By
why we
far.
left it to the end.
Okay.
It's kind of a delayed bloom.
Okay.
So,
You ready?
yeah.
Cheers. But it's nice, it coats the mouth, and while it's hot, it's not burning.
No, it's not unpleasant. It's just warmth.
It's pervasive.
Yeah.
But there's A spread out feeling of warmth.
Yes.
Interesting. I like that one.
Okay,
As well. Thank you.
so you have now tasted our gauntlet of sauces from all over beautiful British Columbia.
Delicious.
Is there anything else you would like our viewers to know? For example, what's next for you? Any special projects coming up?
Sure.
Shameless self-plug.
Okay, yeah, great. Well, the School of Education at UNBC is a very interesting and dynamic place to be. We're small enough that we're able to be nimble and to respond to the learners and what their needs are. So I find that to be very exciting. I'm pretty new. I only started at UNBC in July 2021, so I'm still learning. One of the favorite bits is our motto of people, place, and land. And really thinking how that motto impacts a teacher's development and their identity versus curriculum and pedagogy. If we started from people, place, and land. It's coming back.
Yeah.
I have to take a sip of it. Excuse me. So in shamelessly promoting, please come to UNBC School of Education if you're interested in being a teacher. You're definitely not a number in our program. You're a unique individual who we work with. And if you're an educator who's thinking of coming back to do professional development or your master's, again, a great place, and your access to a whole range of scholars, the interdisciplinarity that happens at UNBC, it's rather unique and special. As far as my work goes, as I said earlier, my big project now, I'm calling it WADL, the Where of Teaching and Learning, and it's in School District 91 and School District 57 currently, but we're looking to expand it out through more school districts in northern BC. And it invites teachers to speak about their experiences around the concept of where and where their practices actually happen. And we're going to bring together all data of all the different participants and see what sort of patterns emerge and how we might be able to share those patterns out with educators that could inform their future practices. An exciting project that we just received funding for is called Climate Education Teacher Education, and that's in partnership with PICS, the Pacific Institute for Climate Solutions, and we're going to look over the next year at how teacher educators understand the concept of climate change, how they understand the concept of climate education, and then we're going to introduce them to a variety of tools that involve our partners, so the IEL, the Institute of Environmental Learning, and Learning for a Sustainable Future, LSF out of Ontario, will help provide us with resources. We'll share those with the educators, with the pre-service teachers, and then we'll follow them through their practicum experiences and see what sort of challenges or opportunities presented as they move through and how climate education becomes something that's a part of their practice. So there's a couple projects that I'm involved in that I'm excited about, and yeah, and UNBC I'm very excited about. So.
Yeah, well, that sounds great. It sounds like so many exciting opportunities for our new young teachers.
Oh my goodness,
Yes.
very, very many interesting and exciting opportunities for teachers right now, all over the place, and choosing where you're going to be really defines the type of experience that you have. And coming to UNBC, I think, is a wise choice for people who perhaps want to work with rural populations in more remote communities, but also to focus on things that aren't necessarily the priorities of the cities and the priorities of larger educational bodies. So it's an exciting place to be.
Yeah, it does sound like very exciting times. Thank you so much. I've really
you.
enjoyed listening to your answers to the questions this evening.
You've been a great host. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. As an elementary school music teacher myself, I really enjoy taking my classes outside to explore the concept of soundscape.
Yes.
And we do sound walks around our schoolyard 4 times a year for each different season. How does this relate to the sorts of things that you're talking about?
One of the biggest ways that we can develop practical wisdom is helping people notice. And in the classroom, we can notice a certain amount of things, but we've really controlled the classroom environment. So by taking students outdoors and by inviting them to use senses beyond just their eyes or their memory, we encourage noticing and we deepen noticing. So going outside and listening to the sounds and then doing it throughout the year really helps students develop an attunement perhaps to the world around them. And this is really important as they grow up and they enter the world. How are they focusing their attention? Where are they focusing their attention? And what are they hearing? So yes, I think this is a very important practice.
Montessori education systems tend to involve a lot of experiential learning. How does this relate to your outdoor education model?
I think Montessori has done a lot of benefits to learning in general by breaking, in some sense, the mold that has been guiding education for so long, and Steiner has done similar. There's been a few that have really helped crack and show that other ways of being are possible. Montessori, though, is still, like most of the systems, based on humans and individual human, which is powerful in some sense, but is as well complicated in other senses, especially if we're living in as social creatures and social dynamics. How do we really develop that social sense, but moving even beyond the human to including the more than human? How do we create opportunities where the tree is the teacher, the wind is the teacher, the sky is the teacher? And so I think Montessori leads us to a certain distance and invites us to consider how schooling might be otherwise, and particularly for the littler people. But the work that I'm in and the scholars that I'm involved with and thinking with really pushes us to move beyond the anthropocentric or the human starting point for education. And so that's where my work is leading me, or leading us, and really asking us to consider those tough questions. Who is the teacher? What does it mean for the classroom teacher to relinquish control to another teacher who might not even be a human teacher, but yet holds a lot of knowledge and provides a lot of wisdom and learning?
Okay, great. Thank you so much. That was very beautifully answered. Meow.